First of all, we present ourselves, kind of the organizers of this symposium. If we're STScI 21, the faces that you're seeing here, the names that you're seeing here are just the co-chairs. This is a large team, large group. My name is Néstor. Ben, you already saw him here from MIT. And we wanted to give this introduction to the symposium first by saying what STScI 21 actually is. For some of you, this thing of study analysis groups from NASA might seem a bit odd. At least it was to me when I moved, and I found all this energy within these groups, it's really great. But I wanted to give a little bit of overview of where this comes from. So the main starter of all this comes from the astrophysics division. So you have NASA administration. Then within NASA, there's a lot of branches. One of them is the Science Mission Directorate, and then within the Science Mission Directorate, there's many divisions, one of which is the Astrophysics Division. The Astrophysics Division itself has many programs. One of them, which is related to exoplanets, is the Exoplanet Exploration Program. And the Exoplanet Exploration Program oversees NASA's program in exoplanets. So these kind of programs, they usually want to receive, of course, community input in some way. And this is where the Exoplanet Exploration Program Analysis Group enters. So this is the group that actually confluates this community input that then goes into the Exoplanet Exploration Program and then goes to the Astrophysics Division itself. So the Exoplanet Exploration Program Analysis Group, or EXOPAG for short, has many study analysis groups and also science interest groups, which is the main driver of all the reports that come from EXOPAG. And one of these study analysis groups is ours, which is STScI 21, which is focused on the effect of stellar contamination at space-based transmission spectroscopy. So STScI 21, which is a study analysis group focused on this, it's focused on the challenge, let's say, of stellar contamination. This fact that while you want to perform transit spectroscopy, which is the wavelength-dependent variation of the planetary radius as it passes in front of the star, you don't only have, your star is not a uniform source, but it can have this activity spots and faculae and other protuberances in the atmosphere. And then the idea is that this stellar heterogeneity impacts the transit depths, so what you're trying to actually measure. So this has been touched upon in several papers. And this particular plot that I'm showing here comes from the paper by Ben Rackham and collaborators from 2018, which you can see that the problem is that during transit, you actually only measure one part, like one chord of the light of the star. But then if there's any difference between that chord that the planet is passing from and the rest of the star, then you have here in the right between green and gray, you have this difference between the true planetary spectrum and the observed spectrum, which is we say contaminated by the star. So understanding the star, this sense, it's extremely important. So the major deliverable of STScI 21 is to deliver a report to NASA by mid-2021, so this year. We've been working hard within the STScI 21 to get this done. And within STScI 21, we actually have, we've divided ourselves into different subgroups, we call them. So STScI 21 is composed by 5 subgroups. The first of them being this stellar photospheric and chromospheric heterogeneity, led by Svetlana Verduginia, Heidi Korhonen, and Alex Shapiro. They're basing basically the physical picture of where these photospheric and chromospheric heterogeneity features come from in the stars. Then we have stellar and planetary retrievals led by Joe Barstow and Ben Rackham, which is focused on the fact that we can actually perform retrievals, joint retrievals between the star and the planet, and to focus on what are the limitations and work to do on them. Then we had Brett Morris and Mahmoud Oshak on the occulted active region subgroups, this is actually a technique that we use. When the planet transits, sometimes it transits also the spots or the faculae, so you can learn a ton of information from them. And this subgroup is focused on that part of the work. We have SG4, led by Ben Montea and Yvonne Undru, which is focused on these unocculted active regions. So even if you don't call the spot and fit and faculty features, you still see, say, some photometric features as a function of time. You can also see transit depths varying as a function of time, for instance, because of spots and faculty. So this subgroup is focusing on that. And then the fifth subgroup of STScI is led by Elisa Quintana and Rob Salem, which is focused on future complementary observations. So what kind of observations we can do in the future to actually understand this effect in detail. So we will be hearing from these folks during this symposium between today and tomorrow. They will be giving overview talks in which they will be showing you what are the main findings that these subgroups have been focusing on, which will go in the report. So this is where we are right now in the work of STScI. So we've been working a ton on trying to define what are the areas that we wanted to focus on, to define the structure of this report that we wanted to write. And this community symposium right here that you're seeing in red here, it's focused first to gather more input from the community. So we know that not everyone had the time or was interested perhaps at the time to join STScI, but probably if you're here, you're very interested in the topic. So what we wanted to provide was some form of extra community input to what we have been finding, and also in terms of what are the newest results on this field. As you can see, the excellent roster of talks that we have focus on that. So the idea would be to take this and inform the subgroups based on this symposium as well, to enrich STScI's findings with more community input. So that's the whole context of this, why we wanted to form this symposium, and we're really happy that your folks are joining it. Now, let me give you a brief overview of the symposium. So you already know that we have a web page, and in this web page you can check the schedule. You can actually see there's links below each day, with the full programs in PDF, which you can check. So there you can check the entire roster of abstracts, actually, in case you're interested in checking that in detail. But in the schedule, as you can see, there's sessions, basically all the sessions or the contributed talk sessions are preceded by overview talks from these subgroups. There's breaks in between, but also very importantly, we will have tomorrow a discussion session at noon Eastern time, in which we will gather feedback overall of the overall symposium and overall the topic of transit spectroscopy. Then I wanted to share with you the fact that we will be using Slido, as you probably saw from our latest email that we sent out this morning, to keep track of the question and discussion points. Of course, you're welcome to use the chat as well, but we will welcome very much if you could use Slido to post the questions. So we share this link with you. And the idea is that you can not only make questions on Slido, so using Slido is fairly easy. Just go to this link, and then if you have a question for the speakers, just post our questions here. So the nice thing is that you can like the questions as well, so we can see which ones are the most popular, or maybe you had the same question and you wanted, we wanted one question in particular to get really answered. So this is one way of doing it. This helps us in two ways. One, it lets us give ranking to the questions, first of all, and second, it lets us have like a track record of the questions that you're gonna make. We can also make polls, which might be useful in the discussion section tomorrow. So that's why we wanted to use this feature in this symposium. So without further ado, I'm giving that my time minutes are up. Let's get started with the symposium. So once again, thank you very much for joining. We're really excited to have you all here. And we will kick off this symposium with a talk from subgroup 1, which will be presenting their overview talk right now. So subgroup 1, you can take it away.